Welcome back, everyone. Tonight, I'm going over my Day 0 decisions for Karasu, the explosive final opponent for Kurama in the Dark Tournament. He is from Team Toguro, and I've chosen the Death symbol because, well, he wants to destroy a lot of foundations, and the first symbol I thought of that did a lot of that would be the Death symbol. So, let's dive in. Karasu is a 7-hand size, 20 health character with Death, Evil, and Fire. As I stated, this is going to be a death build. He's got a static that says, after you deal damage with an attack, any player that has 6 or more foundations destroys 1 foundation. Now, this is not optional. This is a static, not a response. So you don't get to choose that this happens. It just happens. So, hopefully, if you have more than 6 foundations, you have some committed ones to get rid of. And then he has an enhance that says this attack gets plus X damage. X equals the total number of foundations destroyed this turn. That means yours and your rivals. Both of them count. So if you both have 6 or more foundations and your first attack hits, then your next attack can get plus 2 damage. And he's just going to snowball all that damage while trying to control your opponent's stage so that, hopefully, his last big attack can get through. Speaking of attacks, we start with Deadly Claw, a 4/3, 3 high for 4 with a plus 2 high block and the punch keyword. It says if you have 5 or fewer foundations in your stage, this attack gets plus 2 speed and plus 2 damage. So this becomes a 5 high for 6 on a 4 diff, so long as you have 5 or fewer foundations. And Karasu says if you have 6 or more foundations, destroy a foundation when an attack hits. So you have 6. If your attack lands, mind you, he doesn't say non-throw. You can totally run Karasu with throws and just throw your opponent's stage away and throw all of this damage onto a throw. Yeah, and the fact that I didn't see that at first is spooky. So I would not be surprised to see some throw Karasu decks lining up in the future. It would just depend on what throws are available on these symbols. Moving on, we have Deleterious Bomb. Deleterious Bomb? Either Deleterious Bomb or Deleterious Bomb. I think it's Deleterious Bomb. It's a 5 difficulty, 3 control, 4 high 5 with a plus 2 mid block. It's got the range and tech keywords. Good to see tech getting some more support, especially on Meihatsume's evil symbol. It says enhance, destroy 1 foundation. This attack gets plus 1 speed and gains stun 1. So it becomes a 5 high 5 with stun 1. That's already pretty solid. And then response card pool, after your rival destroys a foundation, remove this card. So if it hits, not only do you and your rival likely both destroy a foundation, but you get to clear this card from your card pool. And when you're shrinking your stage, lowering your progressive difficulty is going to be a godsend. Next up we have Malefic Grenade, a 5 difficulty, 3 control, 4 mid for 5 with a really nice plus 0 low block. Also, the ranged and tech keywords. It says, as an enhance, discard 1 momentum. This attack gets plus 3 speed, so it becomes a 7 mid 5. And if it deals damage, your rival destroys a foundation. So, if it deals damage, and your rival's got 6 or more foundations, they lose 2 foundations after this 7 speed attack gets through. That's pretty crazy for an uncommon, especially considering you can stagger all of this damage going forward after that. And then we have his ultra rare Trace Eyes, a 4 difficulty, 3 control, 4 low for 3. Pretty mediocre stats considering the lineup we've seen here, and it's got plus 2 mid block, but there's a catch because it's got the ally, range, tech, and echo keywords. And as an enhance, it says you may destroy 1 ready foundation, to pay for this attack's echo cost. So this is a 4 low 4. Say this is your first attack you play this turn. It's a 4 low 4, or 4 low 3. And then if you destroy a foundation to pay for the echo cost, it is then a 4 low 4, provided your rival and you didn't destroy foundations because the attack landed. So, all in all, minimum threatening 7 damage over 2 attacks. So that's either 2 complete low blocks, which is kind of hard to do, especially when you're dealing with some pretty high-speed mid and high attacks. He's got a really nice zone spread of highs, mids, and lows, just to try to change it up to make sure your opponent never knows what's coming. Next up, I've got Red Riot Unbreakable, a 5 difficulty, 3 control, 4 mid for 7, with a +1 mid block. It's got Breaker 1 and Fury. If you're trying to keep your opponent's stage low, Breaker is an amazing keyword to try to end turns quickly, and since we are a squishy 7-hander, ending your opponent's turns quickly can be really helpful in extending your longevity. It says Enhance. For the rest of this turn, your rival loses 1 health after they play a response during the block or damage steps. So if they try to breaker you, if their blocks have on-block effects like Faith Shield or... what's the new one from Suzuki? Dimensional Sphere. You know, things that activate on-block. You can automatically burn your opponent for 2 extra health each time they do this for the rest of the turn. And then Enhance, discard 1 momentum, your rival destroys 1 ready foundation, build the top card of your deck. So your rival loses a ready resource, you gain a ready resource, and you gain 1 more damage with Karasu's on-face ability. Really solid, especially starting at 7 damage, which is already a pretty threatening move. And then we've got Aura Slam, a 5 difficulty, 3 control, 3 mid for 5 with a +3 low block. Oh, Red Riot Unbreakable also, had the Breaker 1 and Fury keywords. Aura Slam has the Slam and Throw keywords, so this is a throw that you can dump all of that extra damage on with Karasu later in a string, if possible. And it says Enhance, if this attack is blocked, which if you're stacking a bunch of damage on it, it's gonna be, build the top card of your deck face down committed, so if that puts you at over 6, you can then destroy that committed resource instead of your ready resources, to then continue your string without really having lost anything. Moving on to our non-attack cards, we have our assets, Interdimensional Plants. I love this card. This is from the Trigun Stampede Challenger series, and when I was playing in my release event, I played Vash along with another of my locals, and we had to do a Vash mirror match, and he said, well, who do you think's going to win? I said, whoever pulls Interdimensional Plants first, because this card is really good. I know a lot of people kind of poo-poo on this card because it's an asset. Not a lot of people like assets unless you're Mimic, but I really have faith in this card. It is a 3/5 with a +2 high block. It is non-unique, which is interesting given this this card's abilities, but it says Enhance, Commit, Destroy 1 foundation. So that's your cost. Commit this and destroy a foundation. Draw 1 card, and your next check gets +1. So you can destroy a committed foundation to draw a card. Your next check to play a card gets +1, so one of your higher difficulty attacks. And that's another foundation destroyed, so that's another damage that Karasu can give on face. Plus, you drew a card. Drawing cards is always good. And then Enhance, discard 1 momentum. Your attack gets +3 damage, gain 1 health. So again, something you can stack onto a Slam to really carry that damage forward. And you gain a health, which again, we are a squishy 7-hander. We need all the health we can get, especially if we are forced to take some hits on the chin because of bad blocks, or simply not having the foundational resources, because Karasu is a double-edged sword. And lastly, for our assets, we have Grenadier Bracers, a 1 difficulty, 5 control, +2 mid-block with the tech, unique, and weapon keywords. It says Enhance, if you have destroyed a foundation in this Enhance step, this attack gets +1 damage. So, Karasu does not destroy during the Enhance step, but you do have cards like Deleterious Bomb. That's going to trip me up until I Google it. This destroys a foundation during the Enhance step. Red Riot Unbreakable destroys one of your opponents. But you do have cards like Interdimensional Plants, and we have some foundations that will allow us to destroy foundations during the Enhanced step to get that extra +1 on the free +1 from Grenadier Bracers. And then we can commit it as its other Enhanced. Commit. This attack is +1 damage for each foundation you have destroyed this turn. So in your stage that you've lost. So kind of half of Karasu's on-face damage added onto another attack that could possibly carry through. Say your opponent has very few ready resources and you do this on a Malefic Grenade. So it's a 7 mid 5 plus whatever Karasu gives it plus 1 from Grenadier Bracers plus, a whole bunch more from Grenadier Bracers. So that's really just your final bomb, if you will. And then for actions, I chose a Spear and a Shield. This is an action card that's not getting a lot of play, mainly because it's only okay, but I think here we can really have some fun with it. It is a 2 difficulty, 5 control with a +1 mid block. It's got the Breaker 1 keyword, which we love. We love +1 mid blocks with Breaker 1. It has a static that says, if this card is added to your momentum, add it face up. We'll see why this is important in a minute. It says, response, lose 2 health. After you block with this card, your rival commits a foundation. Add this card to your momentum during the end phase. So it's a Breaker 1 that also forces your opponent to commit a foundation. That's string ending right there. That's practically Breaker 2. And then this goes to your momentum during the end phase, face up. And in your momentum, it has a first enhance. Remove this card from your momentum. This attack gets +1 damage for each foundation that has left either stage this turn to a maximum of 4. So this, after 2 of your attacks with Karasu hit, could be live for another free +4 damage. And even if you didn't want to use it for the +4 damage, you can use it for Malefic Grenade. You can use it for Trace Eyes if you don't want to destroy a foundation. You can use it for Red Riot Unbreakable. There are ways that you can just use this free momentum you get on defense while practically Breaker 2ing your opponent and ending their string. Moving on to our foundations, we have Enormous Axe. This is a 3/5 with a +1 mid block and the weapon keyword. As a static, it says if this foundation is destroyed, build the top card of your deck face down. So this is something we usually want to destroy while committed so that we get a free ready resource. And it has an enhance, commit. This attack gets +X damage. X equals the number of face down foundations in your stage. We don't have a lot that builds face down. We do have Red Riot Unbreakable, we do have Enormous Axe on its own, but if we do have flip costs, then we can use this for a little bit of extra damage, but it's kind of more here as a flow piece to commit to pass a check, then blow it up, and then gain a ready resource out of it. So kind of a foundation that works as 2. Next up we have Weapon Clash, a 2/5 with a +3 high block. It has enhanced, destroy 1 face down foundation. This attack gets -2 damage to a minimum of 1. We are only 20 health starting, so every little point counts. And then enhance, flip, build the top card of your deck face down committed. So it doesn't give us a ready resource, but it does give us another foundation that's committed that we can destroy freely with Karasu if one of our attacks hits, so that we don't quite go negative on our ready resources, but we gain more damage as the turn goes on, practically for free. Excuse me. Moving on, we have Immortal Shapeshifter, a 2/5 with a +3 high block. It says response, check a 5, so make a control check as your cost, and as long as you can pass a 5, which you are allowed to commit your foundations to pass, you gain the following effect. After 1 or more of your foundations is destroyed, gain a health. So if you are running behind on the health total race, you can get a little bit of health gain if need be, because you're going to be destroying foundations all over the place. And then it has an enhance, destroy 1 foundation as a cost. This attack is +1 damage. So it kind of fuels itself, and we've seen this with other characters like Elder Toguro, using this as kind of a way to maintain his health advantage, also being a 7 hand size 20 health character. But it's also something that destroys during the enhance step to activate the free damage on Grenadier Bracers. So that can give us +1, Grenadier Bracers can give us +1, and the more I think about it, a throw Karasu deck would be disgusting. Yeah, because that doesn't say unblocked attack or anything, just as long as you deal damage with an attack. That's nuts. Moving on, we have Demon Energy Manipulation, a 2/5 with a +3 low block. It's got a static that says after this foundation is destroyed, your next attack gets -1 difficulty. Again, kind of a foundation that acts as 2 when we destroy it. And it says enhance commit if you have 6 or fewer foundations in your stage. This attack gets +3 damage. So commit for basically 3 free damage as long as you have 6 or fewer foundations. And Karasu says if any player that has 6 or more foundations destroys a foundation, so you can have 6, commit Demon Energy Manipulation for +3, If it deals damage, blow this up, and you get your -1 to your next check, or your -1 to your next difficulty. So you do, as long as you were at 6, hello Sammy, as long as you were at 6 foundations exactly, you do get the most out of this foundation. Next up we have, yes, can I help you? Next up we have Frightening Calm, a 1/4 with a +3 high block. It says enhance, destroy 1 foundation as a cost. This attack gains stun 1. So you can destroy during the enhanced step for Grenadier Bracers and give your attack stun 1 to try to push it through to make sure that it deals damage, especially if your opponent's desperately trying to outbuild to outrace your destruction. You just always want to be in the video, don't you? Next we have Unsettling Aura, a 2/5 with a +1 mid block. This says enhance commit. This attack gets -2 speed, and if you have 6 or fewer foundations in your stage, it gets -3 speed instead. We are almost always going to be floating around that 6 or fewer foundations, unless we try to build through after our string to have more things to sacrifice on our next turn. Then we have Warped Pleasure, a 2/5 with a +2 high block and the unique keyword. It says enhance once per turn, your turn, so only playable on your turn. Players with 6 or more foundations destroy 1 foundation. So this is basically Karasu's on hit effect, but as an enhance, which can boost all of our attacks another 1 or 2 damage, depending on if one or both of us destroy foundations. And then enhance, if your rival has 10 or less health, your attack gets 1 speed and 1 damage. So if you're already close to killing them, get a little bit closer. That's a spooky card, and I'm glad it's unique. Next up we have Toguro's Dominance, a 2/5 with a +2 mid block, the ally and unique keywords. It says response, destroy. After your rival plays an ability on an asset or foundation, destroy it. So if you destroy this to destroy another rival foundation, you can get free damage on Karasu. So it kind of just helps push that damage along. And then as a Team Toguro, we have access to its enhance, flip, your rival discards 1 momentum. So if you need more face-down foundations for enormous axe or weapons clash, or if you're just trying to get rid of your opponent's momentum, you can also flip this foundation to do so. Next, we have Botan's Coaching. Again, arguably one of the best spams, if not the best spam in this set. A 0/5 with a +3 mid block that says enhance, flip. Both players discard 1 card and draw 1 card. So just trying to cycle cards, trying to see your attacks, and once this is flipped, you don't really need it anymore, so you can be free to blow it up. Then we have Keiko's Aid. This is one of the time-shifted cards. That's a 2/5 with a +3 high block that says response, flip. After you block an attack, your rival's next attack gets +2 difficulty. This is basically Breaker, but it's Breaker that you can't get around by playing a foundation. So like if you give Breaker 2 and your opponent just plays like a 0 diff foundation, kind of negates Breaker 2, they just play with +1 more difficulty. This says guaranteed their next attack has to get +2 difficulty. This combos very well with Breaker because it doesn't matter if they burn the Breaker on a foundation, their attack still gets +2 difficulty, and now they have +1 difficulty from the foundation. Then we've got Syndicate Target, a 0/6 with a +0 low block that says after you block with this card, lose 1 health. This is just a good spam that we don't mind blowing up, building just to blow it up with Karasu. Then we've got Defying Fate, a 1/5 with a +3 low block. It says enhance, commit, this attack gets -2 speed. Considering we want to keep a very small stage, being able to have a lot of speed hate is very, very useful, especially if we want to survive more than 2 turns. And then response, after you lose health due to a rival effect, add this card to your momentum. Please don't do that. Sorry, my cat's licking my feet for some reason. Just trying to get my attention, I guess. So yeah, if you lose health due to a rival effect, add this card to momentum. I don't see you needing this unless you absolutely need to get some momentum for like interdimensional plants or Red Riot Unbreakable or Malefic Grenade. But the -2 speed's the main reason to play this. Next, Learning to Hearten, a 2 difficulty, 5 control with a +2 mid block. It says Enhance Commit. This attack gets -2 speed or +2 damage. Again, we want speed hate on our opponent's turn because we are keeping a low stage. And then as a death response, we do have the death keyword. So we get access to the response. After this card is destroyed, draw a card. Karasu has a lot of stuff that destroys foundations. We like drawing cards. It's a match made in heaven. Next up, Foresight, a 0/5 with a +3 low block. It says response, after you play this card, look at the top card of your deck. Good for scouting to make sure you can pass your next check. And then remove, reveal the top card of either player's deck. This is mainly in here to guarantee your next check, to make sure that you can build out if need be, especially on turn 1. And then just be there to pass checks and be destroyed by Karasu. Next, we have Struggling with Studies, a 1/5 with a +3 low block. It says Enhance, Flip. If this is your rival's 3rd or greater attack this combat phase, add 1 card from your card pool to your hand. This is a very solid defensive ability, especially if we're playing a Spear and Shield or a Red Ride Unbreakable as a block, so we can break her. And then if our opponent plays a 3rd attack, we can pick up a +1 mid-breaker block again. Just really solid. It's almost like having -1 to the speed of that attack because you're dealing with 1 less progressive difficulty. And then response, before one of your foundations would be flipped due to a rival effect, flip this foundation instead. So it also protects if your opponent's trying to flip, say, your Warped Pleasure, or your Toguro's Dominance, or Keiko's Aid, something that you would really need to rely on for an offensive or defensive turn. You can protect it from being flipped with Struggling with Studies. Second to last, we have Surviving the Final, a 0/5 with a +3 high block that just says, Enhance once per turn, this attack gets -1 speed. It's speed hate, it's on a spam, it's really solid, nothing more to say about that. And then finally we have Snack Time, a 1/5 with a +3 high block. It says Enhance, discard 1 card, your attack gets +1 speed and stun 1. So it's kind of like Deleterious Bomb, but instead of destroying a foundation, you discard a card, and it works for every attack you play. To get speed, to stun your opponent down, to make sure that your attacks hit and you can destroy a whole bunch of foundations. Plus, as a Deadlock Enhance, you can flip 1 foundation to draw a card. So extend your strings if your opponent is in deadlock somehow, but somehow I don't think they're going to be in deadlock with going up against Karasu. So this has been a 70-card deck, a little bulky, but again, these day zeros are just my first impressions, the first thing that comes to mind. This is how I build it. Like I said, if I had put more thought into this and wasn't having to do 18 decks in less than 2 weeks, I probably would have floated for a more throw-based build because that's gross. Guaranteeing the damage to then blow up a bunch of foundations and then just stacking stats on stats on stats onto throws is really dirty. In fact, let's just do something that we don't normally do and just take a peek at what we could do. So for throws, on the death symbol, we've got the Aura Slam, we've got Jaw Jammer, which destroys a foundation, which we love to do, a face-down foundation, for +4 damage. We wouldn't want to do Duplicate Deception Stab, Double Palm Shatters, okay. GMA takedowns, base damage of 5, that's pretty good. We are going to see more weapons, so having it as an additional breaker 1 block isn't bad. So that's nice. On the death symbol, you only got 5 throws there. Evil has 6 throws. We have Berserker Bite, which is okay. Crystal Choke Slam, which can give speed to your next attack, which is speed equals the damage dealt. That's pretty solid. Nebula Stare is okay, I guess. Double Palm Shatter. Invincible Clasp. Ooh, Facepalm Takedown. It's a good combo. It gets more damage and stun 1, and it's a 6 printed damage. That's pretty solid to be carrying all those stats for you. Or we have the Fire keyword, which only has 2, Fat Grapple and Cat Claw Face Grab. So don't build your throw deck off of Fire. I mean, Fat Grapple kind of can do quite a bit, maybe, but off of Death or Evil, probably Death still, a throw deck would probably be really dangerous for Karasu. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to lab that out and see what that looks like. But anyway, that's been my day zero for Karasu, with a little bit of peek behind the curtain of what might be brewing up on my mountain. So what do you guys think of Karasu? Do you think he's as dangerous as he looks? Or do you think he's kind of a flash in the pan, more of a in theory than an in practice character? I'd love to hear what you guys think. And again, if you like deck build content, I'm putting out videos every week. I'm in a bit of a marathon right now of doing all of these day zeros for the Yu Yu Hakusho Dark Tournament characters, but I usually try to stick to about 2 videos a week. So after this gauntlet, I'll be back to my regularly scheduled programming, I promise. But I'd love if you subscribe, like the video, comment down below what you think of Karasu, and I will see you in the next one. Take care, guys.